All right, friends. So this is an addendum to 6.5 years a monk. This is actually something I was talking about in the regular video, but my phone ran out of space, and I have to do this over again here as an addendum, as a separate video. But the topic of this addendum is energy. Energy has been a big theme of my monastic life because I haven't had any. It's been an interesting experience, especially the years between my weight loss surgery and before I became a monk, when I was just completely fully energetic. I was waking up early, working out, listening to Dhamma talks, meditating in the morning before work. I mean, doing crazy 14-hour endurance events and marathons and things like that. And I had so much energy, more energy than I knew what to do with. My practice felt zealous. I was powerful. It was great. I was like all energy. Everything was good. And then I moved to the monastery. And since then, it's been a struggle. It's been a big investigation for me. What's going on with this energy? How come I don't have energy? How come I'm not... you have to investigate these things like a scientist. You have to bring up hypotheses and test the hypotheses and really try to see. And so in the beginning, those first couple of years, I was like, is it maybe because I'm going into the monastery and there's less distractions and things like that? And, all in all, it wasn't that much different. But still, less entertainment and obviously all that stuff. So I thought maybe that's why I'm so tired. Maybe such and such reason. Maybe this, maybe that. And so I would check, maybe am I dehydrated? Am I getting enough sleep? All of these things, just investigating these things, testing and seeing what works. And, now it'll be almost 10 years, actually. Next year will be 10 years since I moved into the monastery. And living at a monastery for 5.5 years, that's vegetarian. And also now, since in my nomad life, living in multiple places, a place here or two for multiple months, that's very heavily vegetarian / vegan. What I've come to realize is my issue is actually my nutrition. That's really my main issue. All of the other variables, sleep, drinking, all these kind of variables, making sure I am energetic and, going out for walks, doing all this kind of stuff. All of that stuff is pretty controlled. The one variable that's not controllable as a monk is my nutrition. And what I've come to realize is, short term, I always tell people, if people are getting me food, I am whatever you are. If you eat meat, I eat meat. If you're vegetarian, I eat vegetarian. If you're vegan, I eat vegan. If you're gluten-free, I'll eat gluten-free, whatever it is. So if somebody brings me a dana, brings me out to eat, whatever, I would never... Even though I have had this experience where somebody will say they're a vegetarian or a vegan and they'll say, no, don't worry about it, get whatever you want. I would never, ever, ever have somebody order meat for me. That's just not, I as somebody who is, holds by ideals and virtues and morals, I understand and I respect other people that do that. Even though they're not necessarily mine, I still respect that. This is why I have great respect when I meet other honest, sincere religious people, whatever their religion is, right? Because that's something that is respectable. But anyway, so like I said, short term, doesn't matter what I eat. But over the long term, having a vegan is totally out. Vegan long term is done. But having a vegetarian diet over the long term just does not work for me. It does, my energy is just wrecked. I become quite muddle-minded. Energy's gone. It doesn't work. And this is not something I've come to lightly. This is something that, when you'll see, like, when I stay at a place that's a vegetarian place, first month, no problem. Second month, starting to see it. Third month, then you start to see it. Especially if it's heavy carb based, or the balance is not that great. I'll just become a total wreck. My energy's gone. I become muddle-minded. My agitation starts to go, become grumpy. And, it's not something, there's nothing necessarily that I can do about it other than to not stay there for too long. And I've had this experience multiple times, both living at Bhavana for the 5.5 years and also spending multiple months at various places recently. Now, this is the thing. Now, once I left Bhavana, when I started my nomad days, when I was out with lay people and just eating regular food that I grew up with, my energy just came back just like that. I was energetic again. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Oh, this is regular food. This food matches more my body, what I need. And this is one of those things where I say, each person's body is different, and what people need can be different. So for many people, you can be for some people, you could be a vegan weightlifter or whatever, that works. For them, doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. And I know, people will argue, no, but Bhante, you don't know such and such, or, this is what you should do, such as I know. I've studied all these things. It's not like believe me, I'm not like aversive to a vegetarian or even necessarily a vegan diet per se. I've studied these things. I've studied nutrition, all of this during this investigation of these things. I've studied these things. And I've come to the conclusion this: if in the future somebody dedicates their life to being my personal vegetarian cook, and they know a lot about nutrition and can tailor the food directly to my needs, then probably I could be okay living long-term on a vegetarian diet. But short of that, it's just not working. It's just not going to work. And going back to the body thing, it's my body really. A lot of things in the monastic life that people are used to eating, I'm just not used to eating, like soy products. I figured maybe after I just ate soy for a bunch of years, my stomach would get used to it. The enzymes of soy is still kind of not that great on my stomach. It's not a pleasant experience having any soy products. Not as bad as when I eat like Sri Lankan food or Southern Indian food, that there's the spices in those foods just really hurt me. But soy products, things like this, it's just, a lot of it has to do with, I didn't grow up with any soy. I didn't really grow up with any beans. I'm from an Italian family. So I had lots of pasta and pasta and broccoli, pasta and zucchini, all these, pasta and meatballs, these kind of things. And then, I've also been a heavy, even though I was very, very heavy for a large part of my life, I was also a big weightlifter, right? Bulking up. There's multiple times in my life where I was pretty jacked, so and I have this, a body that's equivalent to an elite, I don't know, this sounds silly, but this is, true. I remember my father would always say, your body, you have a weightlifter's body, you have an athlete's body. And then when I didn't really care about that stuff anymore, he's like, you wasted your body. But, and then I remember I just did the 23andMe thing a bunch of years ago, 4 years ago, maybe now. And it says that I have the genetics of equivalent to elite athletes or around the same. So I have this high powered body. And over the years, this even before I became a monastic, what I found was the best diet for my body is high protein, low carbs. So if I have low to no carbs, my body is great. Carbs kill me. Carbs make me fat. It just doesn't work. The less carbs I have, the better. So like when I have, these days,